Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is the head basketball coach of the Memphis Tigers, Josh Pastner. Truth be told, it's Friday night. The Memphis Tigers played Temple this afternoon in the quarterfinals of the American Athletic Conference tournament. And I have no idea if the Tigers won or lost. That's because, as always, our show is pre-recorded. And since we are not airing during our usual Thursday 8:30 time slot, we're not sure of the result from earlier today. With that said, though, I thought it was a good week to sit down with Tigers head coach Josh Pastner. It's been a very frustrating season for the Tigers and will take nothing short of a minor miracle to win the AAC tourney and advance to the big dance for a 5th consecutive season. This conversation will go in depth on subjects such as fan criticism, scheduling, recruiting, and a look into the future. It's the head man of the Memphis Tigers hoop program, honest and open and downright refreshing. And it's next on Sports File. Hey, Josh, thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me as always.
Appreciate it. All right, is this approach this season to the conference tournament different, knowing that you have to win this tournament to get into the NCAA field, as opposed to last year when you knew you were in as an at-large even if you didn't win the tournament?
Well, I think the last 3 years I felt we were in no matter what going in the tournament. My second year when we won at UTEP, we probably had to at least advance to the championship game or win that to get in. This situation for this year, we're going to have to win the conference tournament to keep playing into the NC2A tournament. But I don't think we can look at it as you have to win 3 in a row. I don't think that's the right mentality for our guys. We got to win. We got to go 1-0 on Friday, and then 1-0 on Saturday, and then 1-0 on Sunday, because we can't get the Sunday if we don't win Saturday, and we can't get the Saturday if we don't win Friday. And I think Friday's an interesting game because I think it's a must-win for both teams. I think for Temple to be in the NC2A tournament, they have to beat us on Friday. It's a must-win for them. And for us to advance, we have to win on Friday. This is like an NC2A tournament game in a conference tournament where it's a must-win for both teams.
You played once during the regular season. Heck of a game at FedEx Forum. You guys fall in the final moment, 61-60, a game that you dominated, and then you lost to Austin Nichols. What can you take from that game into this game on Friday?
Well, what I can take from that game is we would have beaten Temple with Austin Nichols. And instead of us being right now 18-13, with Austin Nichols not being injured, we probably about 21, 22 wins and right there on the bubble, on the good side of the bubble, to be honest with you, because of our strength of schedule. We had a 7-point lead and the ball when Austin went down against Temple. I mean, the guy had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 blocks at that time period with 7 minutes to go.
And they started attacking inside with him out of there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we ended up obviously losing the next game because we didn't have time to prepare, and we lost another game obviously without him. So, you know, it's just one of those things. So, you know, the big thing with Temple, they're a very good team. They're a very good offensive team. We can't let them get to the free throw line. They're not shooting a great percentage from three-point range, but they are capable shooters. I mean, they've got some guys that can fill it up. Morgan, DeCozy, and Cummings is their point guard, who is going to, I believe, is a first-team all-league guy who's a potential player of the year type of candidate. So we have to do a great job on their point guard Cummings. And obviously Fran Dunphy, who's got 499 wins, is trying to win 500. Let's not have him do it against Memphis.
You're playing the tournament in the XL Center, but last week you went up and you played on campus in Stores, and you beat UConn, and that pretty much nailed down that spot for you, although you needed Connecticut to lose to Temple, which they did. And I'm talking about that bye. How pivotal was that, Josh, not to have to play in the first round to be able to get the bye into the quarterfinals?
Well, Greg, you know, look, to win a conference tournament, obviously it's a little bit easier. Not that it's easy, because it's not, but it's a little bit easier to win 3 games in 3 days and 4 games in 4 days. So the bye's nice, and plus it keeps the streak alive of having the number of byes dating back to for however long here at Memphis. So it was good to be able to, more than just to buy, being able to win on the road at Connecticut on Senior Day. Going into that game, they'd only lost at Gampel Arena 27 times in the last 25 years, and they've never, ever lost 3 times there in the same season at home. And they'd already lost twice because they lost at home to Yale and Texas earlier in the year. And they just came off of a win versus SMU at home.
Right.
And it was Senior Day. And we're coming off of a situation where the sky was falling in Memphis. And for us, and without our top player in Austin Nichols, we went in there, we fought, we battled, we came out with the victory, a great, satisfying win, which kind of propelled us to get that bye.
I would imagine that was your best win of the year. And with that said, doesn't that show you what guys can do when they're rallying around losing a player in a tough situation, as you just alluded to, going to Connecticut to win? Why not you guys this weekend?
You know, Greg, look, I mean, that's the facts of it. I mean, you just don't know. And I think what our guys going into that week, we were better accustomed to playing without Austin because the week, 5 days, 6 days earlier, we had lost Austin to an ankle injury against Tulsa, which we would have won the game if he didn't get injured. We were up 7 with the ball when he got injured. So, it was just one of those things where I think our guys, because this is the second time around, they've had a better understanding of what we need to do without Austin, and they've adjusted to it better. And I thought even in the game for Cincinnati on Sunday, this past Sunday, that we played well for 33 minutes. The first 7 minutes, they just kind of punched us in the mouth. But other than that, we were really good. So over that weekend without Austin Nichols, we played about 73 minutes of high-level basketball. If we can put that together and keep it at a high level going into the conference tournament, I think, you never know what can happen. We're going in there to win the thing, but we can't win the thing if we don't win the first game.
Right.
That's the key game, and that's a key game for Temple. I'm telling you, it's a must-win game for both teams. It's an NC2A tournament atmosphere type of game because both teams have to win on Friday to advance with a chance to play in the NC2A tournament.
You're a very positive guy. You're a half-full guy.
Overflowing guy, not half full.
Overflowing guy.
Yeah.
But, Josh, how taxing has this season been on you personally?
Greg, great question. This has been a hard year in basketball terms, because, I try to forewarn everybody that we were going to have a little bit of a transitional year. And for us to have a transitional year, we're not 13 and 18. We are 18 and 13 with a strength of schedule, non-conference 22, overall 41. So we played tough teams. We had been hit by the injury bug. A couple things hadn't worked out. So it's been a little bit of a tough year because just, we've been beat up. I've been beat up in the media, which is part of it, which you have to embrace it, which you understand it. But who likes to get criticized? But you have to accept it and embrace it and not hide from it or shy away from it. So I understand it. But it's been and also the tough year is just because I also knew some things. I think, an injury here, an injury there, kind of, bit us in the butt a little bit here and there. That being said, Greg, looking back, obviously, I probably overscheduled at the beginning of the year considering our depth or our lack of experience, should I say, and that hurt us. 10 newcomers, so I scheduled so tough, and we were trying to figure each other out to start the year. And while we were figuring each other out, we did not start well. We started the year 3 and 4. When we were up 9 versus Christian Brothers, was ready to pull away, and I subbed that entire group out and put all the bottom 5 guys in who were at that time was not really going to play any minutes, and I put them all in just because I knew we'd try to get them some time, which bit us in the butt. And should we still lost to Christian Brothers? No, but that didn't obviously set off, even though it didn't count, it didn't set off the year well either. So there's some things if I could have done over, but you live and learn and you go through it. Look, the bottom line is we still have won a lot of games. The program's as healthy as it's been, and the future's very bright. And we're going in this week to win the NC2, to get to the automatic bid with the NC2A tournament. That's what we're trying to do.
If you can't get there, if you can't win this tournament, it's more than likely the NIT. Are guys still going to be fired up for that? How important are practices, getting the extra practices? How important basically is playing in the postseason?
I think playing in the postseason is very important for this team. It's imperative, especially with our youth, because a lot of these guys have never played in the postseason. Besides Austin Nichols and Shaq Goodwin and Nick King a little bit last year in the NC2A tournament, no one has played in the postseason. So I would like for us to have postseason. Obviously, first and foremost is the NCAA tournament. But if not, we need to have postseason. We need to play in the postseason. And I think it's important for our guys to understand that, to go through it, what it's about, and the more practices that we get, the better.
Tom Bowen was asked at your AD by a member of the local media about you and about your future, and he backed you 100%. Hearing that, how do you feel about it?
Well, I love Tom Bowen. I mean, I got his back every day, all day, just like I have President Rudd's back. I'm a chain of command guy, and so I love Tom. I love Tom for supporting me. I know President Rudd has supported me, and look, my whole thing is a lot of the talk and/or the noise. Let's keep it in perspective. A lot of it's being debated about on-court results for this season. We're not talking about some things outside of things that could really be noise and
NCAA allegations, things of that nature.
Just stuff that you're talking about on the court. And in our 6 years here, we've had a tremendous run, and the future is extremely bright as well too. So look, I love Tom for supporting me, and I love President Rudd for supporting me, and those are my guys, and I love those guys, and just like they have my back, I have their back.
All right, let me go back to when I asked you about criticism, and that's part of the job.
Part of the job. You got to embrace it.
Thick-skinned. You really have to.
And you know what? And you can't have you got to be able to accept it and embrace it, which I have never shied away from it.
Right.
And, as you know, whether it's coming on this show or any radio show, I've never hid from addressing the criticism head on.
But let me ask you this. There's one thing to criticize, maybe you should have done this, or you should have pressed more. There's also criticism that Josh Pastner, having a down year, should be fired.
Correct.
After four straight NCAA tournament appearances. Is that warranted, that type of criticism?
You know what? I think a couple things. People have wanted me fired since the day I've gotten the job here.
I don't know about that.
There's been a section of fans, a section of media that have not agreed with him.
He's too young, he's inexperienced, he's too green.
There's been a section of fans and a section of media that have wanted me fired since the day I've gotten the job. After the first time we lost a game my first year, that section of media and section of fans have wanted me fired. And that's okay. That doesn't mean they're not good people. I wish them all goodwill. I extend kindness to them. I just know that's how they feel. There's a section of that. I don't think it's the majority. I don't think it's the majority. I do think there's a section. And maybe when you don't play as well or you have an off game, maybe that section grows a little bit. But that's part of athletics. That's just part of it. And if you look at our success and what we've done, and you really take a step back and you lock in on that, I think people would understand, man, they've had a tremendous, tremendous run. But again, hey, as Coach Calipari has said to me privately and publicly to people, and he said probably the hardest job he's been at, which includes the New Jersey Nets and the Kentucky Wildcats, is the Memphis Tigers. And it's not about that this isn't a great job. It's a hard job because of the intensity of the scrutiny in that. And so that's just part of it. And again, you can take the stance of, I'm mad at you, or you're against me, or kind of the paranoia mentality. You say, man, even the media or fans that want me fired or dislike me in whatever way it may, you know what? You embrace them. You wish them goodwill, and you understand that's part of the job. They have a job to do, and that's what makes this job so great, is the intensity and passion of all around.
All right, few things. Not a lot of time, but I want to get to some things about next season. First of all, attrition is part of every season, seemingly in every program. Do you expect that you're going to lose a couple of guys going beyond the senior Calvin Godfrey?
Yeah, I mean, look, things can happen. I mean, transfers happen in college basketball. I mean there was over close to 600 transfers last year.
Crazy.
I don't see, our program's not immune to not having people transfer. So sometimes when guys don't play a lot, or they're not, feel that they're going to get a lot of time, they end up transferring. That's just kind of the way it is. That's the way it is in today's society. A lot of people there's not the wait around approach.
With that said, you have the Lawsons coming in. You have, is it Brody?
Randall Brody,
coming
correct.
in from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
How many more guys do you think you're going to have to add?
We'll sign a couple more. We're constantly recruiting. We're not sitting pat. We know some areas that we need to continue to get better at. Also, we need to continue to have the guys who are currently on the roster continue to improve in the spring, that as well too. But we're not going to sit pat. We're going to continue to recruit and look at some other guys.
How good can the Lawsons be? And I don't want to put too much pressure on these young men, because that pressure is going to come by being Memphians.
I think our nucleus, Greg, is strong, really strong. When you're talking about the core group there, plus what we have coming in, we got a strong core group. The other thing that I would have done differently at the beginning of the year, because we didn't have a lot of separation, I played 10, 11 guys We didn't have a lot of separation. I'm not doing that next year. I'm going to
Tighten the rotation?
from the first exhibition game.
Okay.
Forget about playing everyone, getting everyone. We're playing about 7 or 8 guys. I'm just going to get the 7 or 8 that are the best 7 or 8 and just play them. And we're going to do that from the first exhibition game. I'm not waiting till the first game because this year at the beginning of the year we didn't have any separation from like 3 to 10. It was just.
So you're experimenting as the season's going along.
We're not doing. I'm just going to find the 7 or 8 and I'm just rolling that 7 for 8 from the very, very start. It's a better way for us to have a chance to win.
All right, final minute. You mentioned you may have scheduled too heavy early in the season
for this team.
Right. But a lot of people will look at the schedule and they'll still be critical of it. The USC upstates, I know, a pretty good team. Stephen F. Austin's a pretty good team. Prairie View A&M. They want better home games. What's the schedule looking like for the future?
First of all, we have Oklahoma coming to us, who's a preseason going to be next year top 10, top 12 team. The conference is going to be very good because most of the teams got a lot of their guys back. But we are upping our schedule with the names that the fans want to see. I know that's important to them. And look, this past year we didn't do a good job of our scheduling, as in terms of we scheduled tough, but we probably should have lessened the toughness and had more names who maybe weren't as good this year, had a down year. And so, look, you live and learn, and it was a year that we needed to improve in our schedule, which we're going to do moving forward, and we're going to have really good names going into next season. It's not finalized yet, but when we get into the beginning of May, we should have our schedule for the 15-16 season finished.
Hey, Josh, safe travels. Best of luck to you in Hartford.
Greg, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the show, and you do a really good job, and I appreciate you guys airing the old Tiger games like it did back in the day. People loved it, and we're very appreciative for you doing that.
Thanks for your backing with that.
Thank
Josh Pastner joining us here on Sports Files. We'll take a break. Overtime is next. So how good was the recent Memphis Tigers football season? So good that they are still receiving honors. After a 10-win season, Miami Beach Bowl victory, and a spot in the final national rankings, the American Athletic Conference recently awarded Tigers senior linebacker Charles Harris with their Football Scholar Athlete of the Year award. Quite the prestigious honor for the former Whitehaven High School star, who compiled a 3.4 GPA as a sport and leisure management major. On the field, Harris finished second on the team in tackles and completed a 4-year career at Memphis, starting 37 consecutive games. Harris is now preparing for next Wednesday's Pro Day at the U of M, where he will join a dozen or more teammates looking to show off their talents in front of NFL scouts. The hope is that he will catch the eye of at least one scout and get a chance to make an NFL team this fall. Earlier this week, I met up with Charles between workouts at the D1 training facility in Collierville. Well, Charles, first of all, congratulations. A great honor from the American Athletic Conference in your senior year. You're named the Football Scholar Athlete of the Year. What did you think when you got the news?
Oh, it was quite a shock to me, actually. I was at Brendan Hayes' house between workouts, and I got a text from my academic advisor telling me congratulations, and immediately after that, my sister texted me congratulations, and I was like, what are you talking about? I haven't even done anything. But my sister sent me a screenshot from Instagram of where the Memphis Athletics page posted the accomplishment. So it was pretty good. I mean, I was excited about it because I know going into my senior year, one thing that I always wanted to accomplish was, one personal goal for myself. I always wanted to be an academic All-American. And although I didn't make the final cut for academic All-American, this is as close to it as I can get. It's got to be a hard thing to balance both football, big-time football. It was a great year for you guys. You're the second leading tackler here in the 2014 season. And to do the things you did in the classroom. Was it as hard as it seems to be from the outside looking in? Initially starting off, of course it is. But we have a great academic staff, and they do a great job of just helping us and preparing us to handle these daily stresses, and sorry, that's not a word, but they do a great job of just helping us to overcome these obstacles and knowing that academics always come first, and we can go to practice and we can work hard, but once it's done and once it's time to go to work and get your job done in the classroom, it's time to get it done. What would your one word of advice be for a sentence or two to a student athlete coming in to the University of Memphis to be able to juggle both
You also want to have a social life as well. You also want to have a good time while you're at school. What would be your advice to them?
I'll say with being a football player comes a social life, so you don't really have to chase a social life being a football player, because the popularity or just the attention that you receive was already going to come with it. So you don't really have to chase social activities. If you want to, then it's another obstacle that you're putting yourself through, but you don't necessarily have to.
Right, but with the academics, a little bit of social, and the football, what's that one advice you would give to somebody out there that's getting ready to play football or basketball, whatever the sport may be at Memphis?
I'd say just know why you're there. Know that you're at school to get an education, but your sport is paying for that education. So I always remember, I love to play football, and that's what I've always wanted to do my entire life. So I always use football as a way to get me to the next step in life, whether that was to get to college or professional or just to get a job and network, whatever it is. I just always use football as a way to promote myself to the next level.
Well said. One of the most consistent defensive players at Memphis over the course of your career. You came from Whitehaven, a terrific football program. Here you are now. You're done. You've been working out with D1. You're getting ready for your pro day next Wednesday. The NFL scouts will be there. What do you expect to show them?
I expect to show them that, of course, I'm smart and I have a lot of football intelligence, and I also want to show them that I can compete with anyone in the country as far as speed and power and athleticism and change of directions. And once it's time to get the job done, I just want to let them know that by picking me up on your team, there's no way that you can, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no way that you can not prosper from it. I always feel like that I'm going to bring the best out of your players and the best out of your team, and I'm a prime candidate for any position on the field. Well, especially linebacker. I'm going to say that.
Well, there's no question about it. You bring speed, intelligence, all the things you just said. What would you say your one area of concern is as far as getting better for your shot in the NFL?
One area of concern for getting a better shot in the NFL, I know that I talked to Lonnie Ballantyne. Of course, he spent the past year with the Houston Texans, and I talked to him. He said that our defensive playbook compared to the NFL's is a lot watered down, and I'm not sure how vastly different it is, but I know that once I get to the NFL, that it will be a change, and I know that I will have to pick up multiple defenses in a few days, and that's one thing that I'm looking forward to, but I'm also knowing that it's going to be a challenge, and I have to get my head on right and put my nose down and get to it.
Yeah, but that's where the Scholar Athlete of the Year comes into play. You're an intelligent guy. You've obviously proven that, so I don't think that'll be an issue for you. What do you expect next Wednesday as far as you got a lot of players who performed very well this year for Memphis? Do you expect a couple of guys? We know that Fetty and Bobby McCain and Al Bond all went to the NFL Combine. Do you expect some guys from this class, your graduating class, to be in the NFL next season?
No doubt about it, and we've worked so hard since Coach Fuente and his staff have stepped on campus, and I will say this was the last Larry Porter's class, so we all came in with the mindset to change the program around. Coach Fuente came in and gave us guidance and leadership and taught us how to be a team, and with that being said, he just stayed with us and he told us to trust his process, and through it all, we got the job done our senior year, and I wouldn't want to go out anyway, especially with the guys I had on my team. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing all each other at the next level at the NFL, whether it be on the field or in corporate offices or whatever it is. We just always look forward to seeing each other prosper.
Once football's done, whenever it is, hopefully it's many years from now after a long NFL career, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with this degree that you got and this education you got from Memphis?
Well, I would say that I want to stay around the sport of football just because, like I've said earlier, it's a sport I love, and I've always loved football and athletics my entire life, and it's always been my driving factor to get good grades in school so I could always stay eligible to play sports. So with that being said, I would probably want to stay maybe in coaching, but maybe not so far as coaching, but more of operations. I just feel like I'm a naturally organized person. I feel like that's a way to stay close to the team and stay close to the organization, but not have as much stress as the head coach or the position coaches would.
Real quick, the 10-win season, the bowl victory for you guys in 2014, did that even surprise the players? I mean, I know you expected a big season, but did you even go beyond your expectations?
I wouldn't say we went beyond our expectations because once we finally put our heads down and we said, you know what, we can do something special. And once we kind of got on that roll and we figured that, you know, if we continue to do what we're doing, there's no one that can stop us. And we pretty much figured that out after the UCLA game. We was like, oh, we can compete with these guys. And then we went to Ole Miss and we was like, oh, this wasn't a fluke. We can literally play with anyone. So we just have to keep going and keep doing everything we're doing throughout the season, and we know no one can stop us. So I wouldn't say it came as a surprise to us, but we were extremely happy with the way the season turned out.
Confidence built with each passing game. Charles, congratulations once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, congratulations to Charles on his terrific honor. And that'll do it for now. Next week, we return to our usual Thursday, 8:30 p.m. time slot. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infiniti of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infiniti of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.